Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Rise and Slay Morning Show. Happy to Slay. I am Rochelle, and I'm affectionately called Slay or Slay Queen. I am the CEO and founder of Slay to Success. So, as you come into today's show, go ahead and let us know who you are and where you're streaming in from. Okay, because on this show, y'all, we are going to talk about all the things that slay to success. Okay. So as your host of this talk show and of the talk show on Sunday night, which is called the Slay to Success Talk Show at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I am here to start us like out the gate with the word slay. The word slay means to kill it, to dominate it, and to nail it, to be on point, to impress greatly, and to dream big and work hard until you own it. It is also an acronym that stands for Universal Life and Leadership Philosophies that really resonate with me, and hopefully they resonate with you too. And that is stay ready to be ready, lead out loud, a sense of community, and knowing you are built to last. So I hope that you moved your bodies, okay? Because I am the leader of Slay Nation. And in Slay Nation, we are always looking at our holistic wellness. So I hope that you moved your body. I moved my body this morning. Y'all, I got in a mini run. Then I did a little bit of kickboxing with some interval work, a little bit of weight training, and I got all dressed up. And now I'm here on the show with you. So again, let us know where you're streaming in from so I can give you a shout out, because you decided to be here of all places and to drop in just for a little bit. So that way we can talk about this trend that I continue to see and hear all throughout the networking that I do. Now, I'm all across the DMV, and DMV stands for DC, Maryland, and Virginia. For those that have never been in this particular area of the world, okay, there's a lot going on. And so, as a new business owner, if you will, I've only had my business for probably going on 3 years now. One of the things that you need to do is to go out, meet people, network, share what you do, how you do it. Now, some of us, okay, have the tendency to over explain ourselves. Okay. So, as your speaker, author of several books, personal brand expert, I operate in the transformational space, and United States Air Force veteran. I had to learn how to translate and communicate differently. I couldn't be out here talking about all the things. Now, I know if I said, hey, I spent 30 years in the Air Force and I start from day one and I'm starting to talk through all the things that I've been through, people will be running for the hills. But I'm continuing to hear people when they introduce themselves. So I was at a networking event. Again, I go to a lot of networking events, y'all. And this was more of a smaller networking event. And the host said, hey, everybody can introduce themselves, give us a little bit about what you do, how you do it. And literally, there was probably like 3 to 4 people that spent about 10 minutes over explaining. Okay. They went into their background. They went into their experiences. They went into the credentials. They went into the titles. They lost me. My mind was wandering in la la land. All right. I was thinking, why do you have to give us the play by play? All right. Now, again, I'm extra. All right. And as your leader of Slay Nation, the Slay Queen, as most people call me, we do things differently here. We don't do a lot of talking. I position leaders to talk less. All right. I help you to talk. And it's not even helping. I equip you with the tools and I position you to say less and own the room that you're in. That's what I do. And I do that through a number of different ways. But today, I'm going to share with you why we continue to do this. All right. The reasons why we are over explaining, number one, is fear of not being accepted or being understood. So, what has happened is we want people to get our value. All right. I don't know how many times I've heard this. I just need to share the context. I need, I need you to understand the backstory on how I ended up in this room. So there's this little voice always asking, right? If I don't explain everything, will they take me seriously? And will they understand why I belong here? Well, I'm here to tell you all of that is in here. It's a self-doubt, it's a mistrust, it's almost in a way like validating and justifying why you even exist. And yes, we've had long careers. And yes, we may be going into community leadership. We may be starting a business. We may be going into a new career. But we got to stop over explaining and sharing all the details because it's not necessary. It's really not necessary, y'all. So that's one of the reasons why we do. We're fear of being understood or accepted. All right. Now, again, this comes with some wisdom. I am 53 years old. And at this point in my life, I only have a small number of people in my circle. So, me being accepted is not one of the things that I'm looking for. I know when I show up, I am completely different from other people in the room. And I'm well okay with that because different pays. All right. It pays in a number of different ways. If it's not from a monetary standpoint, it's from, special invites, you know, going to, events. It pays off so much differently. The other reason why we tend to over explain is because we want to prove our credibility. Okay. We want to prove our credibility. And especially if you come from a structured, highly conforming environment, such as myself. Okay. I came from the military. I know many of us that I'm connected with are from the military or from the government space. And we're trained to show our credentials as a proof of worth. Okay. We're trained to do that. Good morning, Queen. Happy to slay. Thank you so much for being with me live. This is Vita Bravo in the building. So if you got some things to share on this, Queen, please let me know. Hopefully you're moving your body today. And again, thank you for showing up live. Okay, so we want to show our credentials as proof of worth because we had to do that. I know for me that, it got to a point where you had to scan in all of your evaluation reports. And I mean, scan in 30 years of, reports to justify getting a medal, when you retire. I used to sit on boards. I used to have to interview for jobs. And it was like, tell us who you are and why we should pick you. And if you didn't share all the things or all the right things, it was like, okay, right? And you could be sitting there talking for minutes and just going on and on and on and on. So here's the irony. The more we try to prove ourselves, the less confident we start to appear. Okay? So that's the second reason why I think, these are the reasons that I came up with why people over explain their existence, if you will. All right. Number 3 is insecurity is disguised as thoroughness. All right. We think if we give too little, they might undervalue us. Okay. That's what we're thinking in our head. We gotta overcompensate So suddenly we talking in circles, okay, loop de loops, instead of command in the room. Have you ever been in a place where somebody's just talking all over? I mean, you can't even get a word in edgewise. There's like, they take it from A to Z. And, I've always wondered, okay, this whole phenomenon of this, space of not really listening. You're doing more talking than you are listening, especially when you transition out from one world to the next where the language is different. And you just feel the need to go on and on and on. Okay, so I'm going to give you another example. I went to a program, and it was 3 days, and it was a mixed crowd. It was some people that have served in the military, some that were affiliated with the military in some ways, some who had never served in the military, and they were just trying to find out more information about the lifestyle, if you will. So we were at the icebreaker, and everybody's introducing themselves. And of course, I say, in this particular space, I position leaders to say less. I position them to own the room, and I just left it at that. And people were like, "Oh my goodness, like what is that?" They were really interested and intrigued, very curious. And I only shared a little bit more, but I didn't share all the things. Well, another individual decided to share all the things that had happened while they were in Operation Iraqi Freedom. All right. Now, they were a helicopter pilot. So it was just a mirage of things that they were explaining of what they had to do, where they went, how the environment was, where they got their leadership skills from, how do they make their decisions, the reason why they started the business, explaining in acronyms. I stepped away, y'all. I had to excuse myself and just, go somewhere else because I was like, I cannot. All right. We have to start to catch ourselves. All right. When we are just involved and ingrained into a conversation and we are just doing all the talking, but we are over explaining why we do what we do. And it's not necessary. Okay. Another reason why is we have this pressure to fit in or control perception. Now, I am in the image and presence space. So I'm a certified image consultant. And the 4 areas that I delve into when I'm helping my clients or anyone that invites me in to go speak or do workshops or training, facilitate training. And we talk about appearance, behaviors, communication skills, and our digital presence, right? And because I have tracked my journey from when I retired to where I'm at today, I created a proprietary framework. So, one of the things that I talk through is how to manage and control your image and your presence. And when we think, okay, or want people to see us in a certain way, we have to create the perfect explanation. All right. We have to do it like with the I's dotted and with the T's crossed. But in doing that, we actually let others define us instead of showing our natural authority. Okay. So, how this impacts our image and presence, it's actually detrimental. It's devastating. All right. When I hear someone over explaining, including background, credentials, titles, positions, how they got there, why they're there, what they can bring to the table, and da 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 da. It's like there's some work to be done. All right. There are some systematic solutions that need to be in play right now because we have to make sure that we are not diluting our image and our presence. All right. We don't want anyone to come in and say they talk too much. It's over the top. We're not going to invite them in, and you're closing the opportunities. Okay. And so what I do is help to fill that gap. All right. Where you're not being misunderstood. You're not talking just to be talking. You're not circling loop to loop. All right. You have a concise way of how you present yourself. All right. But here's how over explaining hurts your image and your presence. Like I said, it dilutes your authority. And your presence is all about commanding attention, owning the room, if you want to use that, with clarity and focus, not all over the place. When you over explain, people get lost in the details, and your core values get buried in the conversation. All right. So I know it could be difficult, especially for us that have been trained to list all the things. All right. And don't forget anything. But when you transition into this new world, the civilian leaders or people that we interact with that we never interact before, they will get lost. So we got to kind of bring it in, all right? Now, it also makes you seem uncertain or insecure, even if you've done amazing things. And sometimes I say slay amazing, right? That's part of the language that I use now in Slay Nation. You made me doing slay amazing things, but too many words can signal that you need validation. And I'm here to tell you, as a proven leader, you don't need validation. You don't need to write all the things out. You can go Google me, all right? And that's what I challenge every single time that I come on to some of these live shows is go ahead and Google me, all right? That's what people are already doing right now anyway. If you want to find out more about an individual, now the digital footprint, all right, if we're doing it right, it's laid out for them. So when we walk into the room, people are already checking it out. You know, I tell people go to my LinkedIn, all right? And that's all I'll say. Connect with me on LinkedIn. And they go on LinkedIn, they're like, woof. All right. You can binge watch. You can check me out. You can read all about me. You can go to my website because the website is attached to it. And you can see all the things that are going on. All right. So I don't need to explain anything because it's out there. So the other way that over explaining hurts our image and our presence is because it tires out our audience. It was tiring me out when I first transitioned out of the military, and I was starting to do that. So I've done this, y'all. I'm guilty of just going in. And when people say, well, what did you do? And I was like, well, I was command chief, and I was at Ellsworth Air Force Base for my last base. And I was, commanding and helping to run the base. And, I had 8,000 people. We got a little small, town. And I was helping the mayor, if you will, which is the commander. I mean, people's eyes were like, what? Too much. Too much information, y'all. Hey, Kim, I see you on the Facebook side watching. So good morning, Queen, and happy Tuesday. So people stop listening actively. Instead of connecting with you, your power, your purpose, your personality, they're lost in the why and in the how. All right. So you're tiring folks out. And I know you're tiring yourself out too. So we've got to create ways. Again, I have a systematic solution to do that. So that way you don't sit there and just be talking. All right. And the last thing that I see that over explaining has done, it slows the trust in the influence. And influence grows when people feel confident in your presence, right? Over explaining signals hesitation rather than authority, and it takes longer for them to trust and respect and follow your lead. Okay. So, again, I went over this morning about stop explaining yourself. It's not really necessary. All right. And there are some reasons why. We fear of not being understood or accepted. We wanting to prove our credibility. Our insecurity is disguised as thoroughness. And lastly, have this pressure to fit in or control our perception. And then what it's doing, y'all, it's hurting our presence and our image because it's making us seem uncertain or insecure. It's diluting our authority, and it's tiring our audience out, and it slows down trust and influence. And in Slay Nation, all right, with change agents, trailblazers, change makers, all the people that are much different than the way we see it, but we are visionaries. We are leaders of communities. We got to stop doing that. Okay. We don't need to do that. So here's the thing. This is totally fixable. Everything that I've shared, you don't have to justify every step of your journey, give people blow by blows, play by plays to be seen, heard, and respected. Okay. So that's exactly why I created the virtual event. So you see the QR scan code in the corner of your screen. All right. Now, because again, I continue to hear this over explaining phenomenon when I'm going to networking events, or if I'm out and about, or people are sharing ideas and their perspectives with me. This is what's happening, and I don't want us to get to a point where we continue to do this, because our authority, our image, our presence is everything. And so again, I position leaders to say less. All right. You can tell what you do and how you do it in less than 10 words. I can guarantee you that. But there is a systematic approach that I have been using to make sure that when I show up, it isn't like a, go in there and just, dive into a conversation. That's not what I do. All right. So this is called the Stop Explaining Yourself, and it's about how image and presence drives influence. It's on January 28th at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So it's on the lunch break. If some of y'all are in the working world, right? It is on the lunch break. And what it's going to do, it's going to help you, because I'm going to tell you how to stop over explaining without feeling guilty. I'm going to teach you how to command attention naturally, instead of you thinking, oh, this feels yucky to me. This doesn't feel like myself. No, you're going to feel like yourself. All right. Because I believe in authenticity. I don't look at what everyone else is doing. This is what feels good to me and how I approach this. I'm going to teach you how to let your image and presence do the work for you. I really am. So if you're ready to show up, and I'm talking about powerfully, I'm not talking about this low vibe energy. All right. It's high energy, and you're not going to be justified in yourself. This is your moment. All right. So I invite you, mark it on the calendars, check it out, register, so that I want to see you there, because I want to make sure that no one in my community is taking on other ways to present themselves. All right. Because again, I'm from the military background. I can go in for days. I can tell you all the things for days. And of course, I'm going to forget things, but I don't want to confuse people. All right. And we got to make sure that we are not doing that for ourselves either. So I know that we've got several people here on. I want to say thank you all for being here. Make sure you share this out, to some folks that you may think need this discussion today. You know that you got like one or two people, all right, in your community, friends, maybe some family members. This is what they do. They just go on in all the way in all the time. All right. And they're over explaining themselves, and the brand, the image, the presence of what they are presenting, it's given some vibes that you don't want to give off. I'm just saying. Okay. All right. So I'll see you at the live virtual event. Again, you can scan the QR code. I'll be putting it into the comment section so you can check it out. I want to thank Vita. Good morning again. Thank you so much for being here with us on the YouTube side. And then on the Facebook side, I see Kim and Jamie. Hey, Jamie. Happy Tuesday. And thank you for coming here on the live show. And of course, I got Dr. T in the building. Good information, Queen. Yes. Yes. As leaders in our own right, I'm making sure that I got the flag. All right. And we're just like, okay, we're going to do things differently. But more importantly, we're doing the Slay way. Okay. Which is a whole lot. All right. But in the vein of killing it, dominating it, nailing it, being on point, impressing greatly, and dreaming big and working hard till you own it. All right. We don't want to miss out on any opportunities that present our way because we are diluting our brands. Okay. Our image, our presence. Good morning, Queen, and happy Tuesday. I'm so happy that you're here live. All right. So I'm going to close it out this morning, and I'll be back here next Tuesday at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And if you want to come back this week on Sunday night at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we have the Slay to Success talk show, and I have a Slay amazing guest you don't want to miss. So keep on slaying until you can't slay no more, and I will see you all very soon. Bye-bye.
Yeah.